Right now, Mayor Tom Erdmann for the city of Carrington joining us on the Carrington Cardinal Community Chatter program brought to you by the Carrington Chamber and CVB. And we check in with Mayor Tom once a month here on the Chatter program, and he lets us know what's all happening with the regular city council meetings. And this one we're going to talk about is from Monday the 14th. And so thanks, Mayor, again for taking time with us. And you kind of want to start with probably the preliminary first, right, from Monday night?
Yeah, that's correct. Good morning, Greg, and thanks for having me on again, as usual. And yeah, the consent agenda items, I asked Scott Tweed if he would serve on our special assessment committee. It's a 6-year term. And Gene Drulo actually served for 6 years and never attended a meeting because we never had a meeting concerning special assessment. So it's probably, if you want to volunteer for a committee meeting or for on a committee, that's one that might not require a lot of work until we do a project. And then we need, so Kent Gushis and Eric Shear and now Scott Tweed are the 3 members of our special assessment committee. So if the city ever does a project that requires special assessments across the entire city, that committee would sit down and figure out how to prorate the specials out, so every resident commercial property would know what what their responsibility is. So then from there, we'll just jump into the regular agenda. The house moving license, we already issued one to Carrington House Moving, but then David Lettman sold his business to a couple individuals that work for him, mainly Dustin Garber, his partner. So they had to come in since the new ownership that came in, and we reissued a license to the new owner. It's still Carrington House Movers, and it's still the famous Lettman family, but now the Lettman family has actually sold their interest in it to the individuals that have worked for them for many, many years. So we wish Dusty and his partner good luck in their new venture here. Sometimes just working for somebody, and now the challenge will be they own the business. So we wish them the best. Then the next item was the franchise agreement, which is ordinance 283. That's our franchise agreement with Otter Tail Power Company. We had the second reading on that, and that passed. So everything's in place now for another 5 years with our franchise agreement with Otter Tail Power Company, who provides probably over 95% of all the power within the city of Carrington. The outlying parts of the city of Carrington fall under some of the jurisdiction for Northern Plains Electric, but the majority of our power comes from Otter Tail Power Company. From there, I'll jump into the fire department. You know, last month, the fire department signed a contract to buy a new fire truck with all the bells and whistles on it, come to $640,000. And I committed personally out of our fund as the mayor to say, well, we could potentially use up to $180,000 of that fund to help this $640 purchase. However, the council and myself would like to see a better financial trail to see what's available, what they have available, and to try to get that number within reason. So they came back after providing all the information, and the request went from down to 113,000. So the council approved the 113,000, and it's very admirable of the fire department with their fiscal responsibility that they actually have the funds. Plus, they have an additional excess amount of funds to help cover other items. It isn't like they spent their last nickel to buy a $640,000 fire truck. So there won't be any more fundraising activity, and that's just part of the 1.25% of the city sales tax as a method to reduce property tax relief. So it's a great asset to have a brand new fire truck and not have any debt obligations or not have any items that were going to come back to the public and ask for additional money from taxes or fundraising activity. Also, the fire department, they had 7 city calls. They get this time of the year, it seems like when you turn your clocks ahead or back, you're always supposed to replace the batteries in your smoke alarms and things of that nature. It probably holds true because they had 3 false alarms, but then they had 1 major house fire in town. The flames were coming out of the roof of the particular house just a block off of Main Street, and they were actually able to salvage the house, and there was several cats in the house, and none of those, they were able to save everything. There weren't any individuals in the house, but anyway, the house has got some severe damage, but the firefighters were able to put that out. Then they've had 3 rural calls. 2 of them involved traffic accidents, and 1 of them involved helping the ambulance on a lift call that they were on. So from there, I'll just jump into finance and legal. Excuse me. Finance and legal, we have a sanitation committee put together working with waste management to go over our contract that expires here in August. So we're working with them. And I guess if it doesn't come back the way we would like it, then we would put this out for bids. And if not, we will just continue on with waste management. Then also finance and legal, the old Rexall building on Main Street came back to the county for non-payment of taxes. So we've requested that they deed that property over to the city, and then we can determine if it's salvageable or if we need to take that structure down. But it involves the old Rexall building, which is actually 2 buildings. It used to be the bakery years ago, and then Rexall Drug, and then I believe when Matt Paulson took it over, he combined the bakery, and it was 2 buildings into 1 drugstore. And then, of course, the roof and different things. There were problems with that building, so that's why Matt put a new building down, by Bank Forward. Excuse me. And that's already been over 25 years ago that this has happened. So that building on Main Street we just don't know what we're going to do with it, but there's some state funding to help us figure out if it's repairable or if we need to demolish it and kind of clean it up. Also, under finance and legal, we've got approval for our 2022 and audit, and they're also working on our 2023. So we were behind there for about 4 years, and now we're getting caught up. And our audits are fine. It's just a matter of our accountant Harold Rotunda getting them in, and then the state auditor reviewing them. So we're happy to hear that they're on our 2023, and of course 24. Will be submitted sometime in July. And so hopefully we get completely caught up on that. City sales tax, last year 2% generated 1.3 million, which is an unbelievable number. And now the first 3 months, that same 2% city sales tax were over $200,000 ahead of last year's record for the first 3 months of this year. From there, I'll just jump into economic development. We had some activity there. We dispersed the $5,000 to Augustus Electric. He hired 2 apprentice electricians, a couple young guys local to the area, and they've been there now for 6 months, so they qualify, or his business qualifies for that job credit grant, which is $2,500 a piece. So that total $5,000 was approved there. Then we also approved Ben Gar with his property out south of town. It's called Red Rock Properties, where he has his dental office. And there's a hair salon there, and the floral shop is there. I call it the old furniture building. Anyway, he's going to do a facelift on that building, and he's going to concrete out the parking lot on the south side and on the west side. So he would qualify for that 75-25, or 20. He puts in 75. We'll put in 25% up to $30,000. So he's been approved for that, and we look forward to enhancing that property as you come into the city of Carrington from the south. Then another major deal here, we've approved a forgivable loan to Central City Lumber for $200,000 to help fund some of the infrastructure that they're working on their property, which is to the east of Trinity Lutheran Church and behind Golden Acres Manor. They acquired that property, and they've been trying to figure out how to basically design residential lots there at an affordable price. So Senate Bill 2225 has a 2/3, 1/3 match. So basically the developer and economic development put in $2 and they will put in $1. So this is like a $1.1 million project, and the economic development has agreed to provide basically 200,000, and the Van Rays will be looking at, or Central City Lumber will be looking at somewhere between 500,000 or 600,000, and then the state would $1, for every 2 we put in, they'll match it for 1. So they're hoping to get those lots from, basically they would, if they did all the work themselves and didn't have any grant money from us or the state, they'd be looking at $110,000 to $120,000 lot price for 100 by 125 foot lot, and they're hoping to get that price down to $55,000 to $60,000 or somewhat less than that, but a little more reasonable. And there's a pretty good demand for people that are looking to want to build new houses. I guess if we look at the grade school property, you know, when that got turned over to turn into residential, there's already 6 homes on there in about approximately 4 years. So we know there's a kind of a demand, and of course H&H Holding is on the other side of town, and there's interest in lots out there too. So I guess with some of the inflation maybe going down, there might be a little more interest in this, but then now hopefully the tariffs don't cause a major increase in the material. But anyway, so that was a major one there. And then also if you noticed on the front page, the Carrington Youth Center has got a raffle. And one of the reasons for that is that their $10,000 movie projector, digital one, went on the blink. So what we decided there is the CCCC with some of our county mill money, we gave them a $7,500 grant, and then the CVB will cover the other 25. So rather than taking 5 or 6 months to raise the money to get this digital projector up and running, we're going to give them the money now and they can get that done, but still continue to buy their tickets because there's always a demand for funds, you know, at the youth center, and it's a great asset to our community. And that's why we decided, let's just get the money out there, get the projector, and let's get the thing back up and running. Then from there, I'll just jump into the airport. Of course, they're going to be letting bids for the lighting system out there and just doing the normal spring activity before the ag pilots come in here and start spraying out of there. And then on the police side, the calls for service, we had 337 calls for service this month, which is about normal, 300 to 350. And then of course they're going to be basically going around town again like we do every year. We have a new ordinance concerning junk and a citation process or basically a warning process. And so as the officers drive around our city and they see all of a sudden something got accumulated that is not allowed to be there because of the ordinance, they will stop and talk to the owner. And I greatly appreciate everybody that's, you know, taken the initiative, because the officers have identified several properties and a lot of owners have jumped up and cleaned up their property, and I greatly appreciate that. Oh, also another issue is going to be on the golf carts. You know, we don't have a separate ordinance on golf carts, so the officers are enforcing the state law. So the last 2 years, they've tried to educate everybody about the use of golf carts. Basically, you can take a golf cart with clubs on it back and forth to the golf course. There's no issue. You don't have to have some of these requirements. But if you want to use that golf cart just for leisure and you're driving it around with no golf clubs on it, it needs to be licensed, it needs to be insured, and it needs to be driven by somebody that either has a driver's license or that is not a minor. So, you know, we did have the incident south of town where a couple young gals got hurt, and it could have been very serious because they're, you know, driving a golf cart on a road and a vehicle passed them just as they turned. And we're thankful that nothing happened there, but law enforcement, this is going to cause some negative feedback as they stop people, but you can contact the police department and they will help you get the thing licensed, and you can get insurance from your agent, and then make sure that you have a driver's license or that you're not a minor that's operating that. So parents, tell your children, you know, if they can't drive the golf cart around the city unless they have a driver's license. So from there, I'll just jump into the tree board. Blaine Schatz, retired from the Carrington REC, has agreed to come on the tree board, and Doug Smith is the chairman, and they'll continue to go around town and look at all the infected trees and determine which ones need to be replaced. And then we also will have a program to give trees back to people that want to put them on the boulevard, and I believe we'll have a program to help pay for removal of the trees on their property. So that's an ongoing issue with the Dutch elm disease. Then Public Works, I guess we had an individual that left us that took a different position. So we have an opening for a part-time water plant and equipment operator. This job position is kind of, like I said, part-time at the water plant, along with Dan Miller and Jordan Wolf that are already at the water plant. And then they would all, you know, operate equipment, you know, so it's kind of a off and on deal, but it's a great opportunity. So if someone's looking for another job, get an application from City Hall and get in contact with Jason Walski. And then Jason is working on a grant to replace the lighting at the water plant. We've kind of replaced the lighting at City Hall, the library, the city shop, and there's like a 50% grant, so we continue to utilize that grant money, and the funds, the other side of our share of the 50% normally comes out of that 228 account, which is the 25% of our city sales tax. Then, of course, we had a major water break on Main Street right by, the Gate City Bank, and it took like 4 or 5 days to determine where the problem was. But we know that we have a real bad water line all the way from Bank Forward up to the PD. So what we've done there is we got an estimate from Interstate Engineering to at least start, if we do one block at a time, we can get some emergency money. It's a 60-40 grant from the Department of Water Resources. But just to do one block with a water main with 4 hookups is $140,000. So we're going to apply for that and see, since we already got ground, we got the ground or the pavement dug up there in front of Gate City Bank for quite a few feet, that if we can just go get this all done and put a whole new water main in on that one block and then put some valves, so if we have issues, we don't end up shutting water off all the way from Bank Forward up to the PD. Public Works is also working on, of course, the street sweeping and filling potholes and just the normal spring activity that we've got going on. And then, of course, we have a company coming in to look at our sanitation sewer line at Casey's. Back when the roundabout got built, for some reason, we have a manhole that's someplace under Highway 281, under the round. We don't know where it's at, but it got buried. So we got some concerns there, and we're working with a company to help fix that. We haven't had any problems with storm or sanitation in that area, but that's a concern that we have. Then another thing, there was some discussion on cost share. The Foster County Water Board is looking at cleaning Carrington Creek, which is the creek that runs from our lagoon, or all of our city water goes out here past the Prairie Inn and then heads east out into Carrington Creek. And we did a cost share on part of that already, and we're looking at a continued cost share with Foster County Water Board to clean out another 8 or 9 miles to the east until it gets into closer to the James River. Then June 5th through the 7th will be cleanup time, so the landfill will be open and people can bring items out there free of charge. So June 5th through June 7th, and then starting April 21st, the brown totes and the tree boxes will be available, so people mowing their lawns can use the brown totes, and any tree removal, you can take it over to the tree boxes at the city shop. So then the other thing I guess Jason's working on, of course, is the furnace and the air conditioning unit at City Hall is starting to not work real well. So we're working with, there's grant programs for that also. So Jason's working on that as well. So I guess with that, if you want, we can jump ahead to the meeting on Tuesday night, which was the Foster County, the equalization for the city of Carrington. And this was, it brought out a lot of people, Greg. We had a good crowd there, and understandably so, because what happened here is Karen Evans, we contract our assessment for city valuation through Foster County, and Karen Evans is the assessor. And her and Rachel Stokes worked together on this. And of course, back in 2019, Vanguard come out and appraised all the property, all the residential, all the commercial. And now what's happened is every year you got to look at your comparable sales. And if you're not within 90 or 100%, the state will mandate some increases. They mandate things, and we don't want the state mandating anything. We want to be above board and transparent and do all this. But all that said, then the other thing Vanguard did is they come out on the appraisal process, and they were using a 2005 replacement cost manual, and now we went to a 2020 replacement cost manual. So you can about imagine the last 15 years, we know what's happened with the cost of material and inflation and all of that. So with that said, all the commercial property, the land that the building sat on in Carrington did not go up. But the land that the actual structures, the commercial property went up 53.4% over the whole city. So we're talking basically a lot of money there. And then the residential property, just the structures, went up 12.6%. So we had a lot of individuals there that are concerned about this, but like I tell everybody, the best thing that happened here is everybody's went up proportionately the same. So if your taxes, if you were the only individual that your property went up 50%, yes, you're going to have a major increase in your taxes. But since everybody went up proportionally to the same, the budgets at the county, the city, the school, the park board, the airport authority, all those budgets come together in July or August and then determine how much money, excuse me, how much money each entity needs to run, for taxpayers to pay to run their county or run the city or whatever. And so what'll happen here is the value of a mill will go up significantly. So as an example, the city of Carrington, we need, last year we got $826,000 revenue from the taxpayers, which amounted to, based on the value of last year's value, was 89 mills. So now with the increase in value to have the same $826,000, we will need 70 mills. So there's also some things in the state legislature that are still in the works, but they're working on a residential incentive where primary residents can get up to $1,250 refund. Last year we got $500, and they're also talking about capping everybody's ability to 3%. So if you take the $826,000 and that bill becomes a reality, we would get 3% of that. That's all we could raise. So we could go up by, well, 3% is about 20, 25, $26,000 if you take it times 826,000. So I'm telling everybody, just since everybody's value proportionally went up, that don't expect probably to see over a 5% increase in your property tax. And hopefully that 5% is eaten up, or actually you're going to get ahead of the game, because if you get the $1,250 back on residential, that's going to offset that. Now, of course, on commercial property, that's not true, because they don't get there isn't any incentive like the primary resident incentive. But the other side of this is, if we're restricted to 3%, hopefully we can continue to provide all the services that we need to provide. And the largest share of our 826,000, of course, is our police department, because under public works we got income coming from garbage and water and sewer. So we got we have margins there that we and also when we do a cost or expense evaluation, we dedicate so much of public works and so much of to these different revenue streams. So the city itself will be fine if we get restricted to a 3%, because we have other avenues. And the good thing about it is we've got decent margins now. So we're going to do our best, just like every political subdivision, to try to hold a line on expenses. And one item was, I'm kind of disappointed that the state's mandating the 3%, but then they're turning around and giving the $1,250. So I guess it's great they're doing that, and it kind of ties some of the political subdivisions' hands on the other side of it. But so you really won't know, but I'm hoping that everybody's value went up, and of course it's human nature, Greg. If my value goes up 50%, my taxes are going to go up 50%. Well, that's not going to be the case, because everybody's went up. So I'm just trying to tell people, you can't just look at that evaluation. You got to wait this out, and then of course in August everybody will be getting a statement once all the political subdivisions put together their budgets, and then they'll get a notice that this is our preliminary, what you're looking at as an increase or a decrease. And with the $1,250, I'm hoping that it's going to be a decrease. So with that would conclude my report, Greg. And we thought we were going to get on the baseball field and the golf course early when we met last month, but that didn't happen.
Yeah, it's a little rain came through, and but when are you thinking you're gonna be out there soon? Not
Well, actually, we got tee times at 1 o'clock today, but I don't know. It's snowing right now, so what do you think? Does it look very good? Because originally they said they were opening the course at 10 o'clock on Saturday.
Oh, okay.
And
Mm-hmm.
they put the word out, so my buddies went and got a tea time for 1 o'clock, and now I'm looking out the window as snowflakes coming down.
Oh man.
Well, Saturday will be soon enough. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of years we don't get on the golf course until May.
Yeah. Yep.
But
Yeah.
more importantly, I would assume you've been at some baseball games and you got a little chill sitting there watching some of them, didn't you?
Oh yeah. It's been kind of chilly, and I think all the home games we played in New Rockford, for sure April, I guess, because Carrington Field are not quite ready yet with all the renovations and everything. But
Right. Well, hopefully we can get to a point where you can just be in Carrington because I think we've had this for a couple of years now with the girls softball and the boys kind of having to travel out of town to play. So I guess it'd be nice to get everything good and green at the park this year and get all the scoreboards up for everything and kind of I know the park board, they got that significant donation from Steve Watson and yeah, they just they're having a hard time getting individuals to come and put the sign, put up the scoreboards and get the electrical stuff done but yeah, hopefully this is a year that can all get done and then 2026 we can have the benefits of having everything here in Carrington.
yeah, yeah, no kidding. That'd be nice. Yep. Alrighty, so let's see. Next regular city council meeting will be May 12th, right? Is that correct?
Yep, May 12th. So I'll be fishing from the 2nd of May until the 10th of May. So, and then I'll have to come back to work on the 12th.
So we'll get some good fishing stories then.
Yeah, right. It's been like a 30-year annual get together. So it's, I think, our 31st. We go on the Missouri River at Bismarck, a bunch of us.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's at different times. There's between 10 and 12 people that show up that are all fishermen and tell big stories, how fishing goes. So
Yeah.
hopefully I got a big story for you when I come back on the 12th.
Right. Yeah.
When we get together after the council meeting.
Yep. Yep. Alrighty. Well, sounds great. Thanks, Mayor, for joining us here and filling us in on the meetings for City Council and the tax meeting there. And so have a great rest of your day and month, and we'll check in again next month. So,
All right. Thanks, Greg. Take
yep.
care. Have a good Easter.
Yep.
Yep.
You
Bye.
too. Yeah. We'll see you.
Discover the charm of Carrington, where community and character come together. Our vibrant community is full of welcoming smiles and unique experiences, from delicious dining and one-of-a-kind shops to lively events and beautiful parks. Join us in celebrating the best of Carrington, where every visit feels like coming home. Come visit the Carrington Chamber and CVB office to learn more about our wonderful town and its amazing businesses. Explore Carrington today and experience the warmth of our community. Hey sports fans, tune in to YourLiveEvent.com for all the action-packed Carrington Cardinal games, streaming live and free. Catch every thrilling moment with our live coverage. Listen to the play-by-play and watch the games unfold right on your screen. Plus, if you missed any of the excitement, don't worry. You can catch up on all previous games at YourLiveEvent.com. Check out the full schedule and never miss a moment of your favorite local Carrington games. Stay tuned and let's go Cardinals!
And right now on the Carrington Cardinal Community Chatter program, we got Principal Connor Weber from the Carrington High School joining us, and we check in with Principal Weber once a month here on the Chatter program, brought to you by the Carrington Chamber and CVB. And thanks again, Connor, for joining us here. We always appreciate it. And boy, lots of, the spring season is full of banquets and all sorts of stuff, right?
Yeah, we're keeping busy with a lot of different things going on here at the school. We held our athletic awards banquet March 18th. That's always just such a special night, really to get all the athletes and all the students in there with their parents and coaches, and everyone comes up and does a nice presentation and gives out their team awards and those kind of things. And I know I've said this multiple times that when I've been on the program, just how much these kids are in and how much they do and how busy they are. And that night really shines a light on that. It shows, we have so many multi-sport athletes. We have so many kids that are in multiple sports organizations, different things like that. It's really nice to come together and get to see those kids being honored like that. And the coaches talk about the teams and the special things that happen throughout the year. And, when it comes to high school sports, only one team in that sport ends the year as a state champion. but these kids put in a ton of work and a ton of effort into it, so it's always nice to honor it and have those kind of events. We also had our National Honor Society inducted their new members this spring. Again, I was speaking with Mrs. Helmer, superintendent. We went on pretty good run there of different banquets, activities, and stuff at night. And we're always going, but you know what? Like I said, the kids are all at those things too, and they all have these things going on. We had multiple kids that week that the previous week they were in Washington, D.C., New York for their close-up trip, came home, landed, went straight to Bismarck for the FBLA competition, where we had 30 kids qualify for the national FBLA competition in Anaheim, California this summer. And then straight back, got home that night, went to National Honor Society induction. A kid like Josh Bickett was one. I looked at him and I go, "You all right?" And he goes, "Just tired, just tired." We had multiple other students that were in that same situation. So that's another great night to honor, those National Honor Society students and those new students getting inducted. We also had the FFA awards banquet. Our advisors, Missy Hansen and Mitchell Becker do such a great job. Our FFA program, to me, best in the state. Really, honestly, what they do and what those kids do. I truly believe that they are really just on top of everything and do such a good job. And we celebrate all of their awards and successes throughout the year. We have a team going from the FFAs going to Scotland this summer. They finished, high enough in the national competition that they've been invited to that international competition, and stuff like that doesn't happen in every area you go, or doesn't happen very often for anybody, and to see those kids put that work in and that effort, and then being rewarded with something as cool as that, it's just a fun part of the job, right? I obviously had no part in it. I didn't do anything but getting to sit here and watch it and see it happen. It's just so cool, and just a great thing for them. And getting to sit through, be at that FFA awards banquet and see the different things and the different awards and all this stuff is really, it's a special part of the job for us. We had our regional science Olympiad competition. Where both our senior high and our junior high teams scored the highest of any of our Class B teams that competed there, and qualified for the state competition, which comes up on April 26th here. So that's coming up, that just another thing, right? Just another thing that these students go out and compete in and do a great job and put in effort and practice late after school and do that. And we had that. We had a math competition in Valley City that we sent to a high school and a junior high team too. So, along with, our Ac Olympics team, a math team, a science team, these kids are putting in so much work, and it's a great reward for them to get to go out and compete at these different competitions. But the fact that they're willing to do it and put that time into it is it's a special thing. And I think they deserve to be honored for that as well. And then coming up here, we have our honors night, our academic honors night. That's going to be next Tuesday, April 22nd, in our West Gym here. So that's where we go through and honor, the seniors and all their accomplishments, talking about scholarships, that kind of stuff, but then also the underclassmen too that have achieved academic honors throughout the year, and different things like that, different awards that we give out there. It's really a great night. We have our art expo, our art night coming up April 29th, so the following Tuesday, where all the students' artwork is on display, everything they do. Megan Troutman does such a great job as well. The kids put everything on display, and I think that, my doodles don't hold a candle to the work that these kids do, and getting to come together and put on that is great. And then there's some, speech performances and band and music performances there as well. We had 27 students qualify for the state music competition, which is a huge number. So a huge congratulations to those kids and Mrs. Hovey. I think that they've done an outstanding job too. I mean, it's just everywhere we look, I feel like we're having great success with stuff. And I truly feel like, I'm just honored to be here in our school and witness that with those kids. I do want to mention that we did have some academic all-state teams be recognized. Our girls and boys basketball teams, our girls wrestling team, were awarded an academic scholar award here in the month of April from their season. So a huge congratulations to them as well. And that's given out by the High School Activities Association. So yeah, I think I've kind of talked through most of my list here. So
Got sport like the spring sports that's going
oh
on too, right?
man. Yeah, geez, yeah, our track teams, boys and girls, off to a great start. Man, the girls team really has gotten out to a really good start. They're putting up great times. The relays, not teams, relays are doing great. Individual performances, winning competitions, really good job. Our boys are doing a great job too. April Bernston, first year as the head coach of that track program, and she's doing an outstanding job. And then we have a lot of veteran coaches, Pat Beamer, and Christy Hewitt that help out too, and a bunch and other coaches as well. But they just do such a great job with that track program. And then, the baseball team's gotten to play a few games here. I can't remember if we talked about this. I can't remember where it was, but it seems like whenever you feel like you're going to get a spring season, we get those big snowstorms, right? And I think we talked about it when I did the interview from my house during the snow day. Then you get it. It's bounced back pretty good, and it's good to see these boys getting out there and playing a little bit. Unfortunately, the home schedule is going to be played in New Rockford. But the boys are resilient. They'll find a way and keep going. And Coach Shipman does a great job there, and Coach Christensen. And then, our softball team got to play in that Jamestown bubble pretty early on. Played a tough team there, had a couple tough games, and then went up to Grafton, where I feel like our softball team maybe has a second home in Grafton. They've played there so much lately, and they did a great job getting a win there and got a couple other wins. So softball team, Coach Smith, Coach Bota, they're off to a good start there with the girls. So yeah, it's fun. It's a fun time of year, right? Everyone's starting to get excited. Weather's starting to get nice, kind of, right? It's rainy today and crappy today. Weather's starting to get there. So we're just hitting that finishing stretch. I would say we're in that last 100-meter dash here towards the end of the school year now, and figuring out things for next year and ready to do it all over again.
Yeah, just a little bit about a month away from last day of school and then graduation, right?
Yeah, graduation, obviously that's a very special day coming up, very important. I just can't believe, again, here I go. I almost made it through the interview this time without saying I can't believe how fast it goes, but it truly does. And we met with our seniors last week for the first time with just specific graduation talk and ceremony talk, and it's like, hey, it's time for this now, and caps and gowns can't come in, and you see all this stuff, and it's just crazy. Our seniors, it's a very special day for them, obviously their families, and really looking forward to it, but don't want to wish away time either. So
Mhm. Yep. All right. Well, awesome. Thanks so much, Connor. We appreciate the update, and enjoy the rest of your day. Have a happy Easter this weekend here too, and your family. So
yeah, happy Easter to you and your family as well.
Yep.
It's gonna be nice to have a little break here, but it'll go fast, right? So
Yeah.
good.
Yep, that's right. All right. Well, thanks again, and then enjoy your rest of your day, and we'll check in again next month. So,
Sounds good. Thanks, Greg. I appreciate it.
yep, you bet. We'll see you.
Yeah.
Once again, we'll check in right now with Laurie Dietz, the Executive Director for the Carrington Chamber, on the Carrington Cardinal Community Chatter program brought to you by the Carrington Chamber and CVB. Check in with Laurie every Thursday. So thanks again, Laurie, for joining us here. And well, it looks like a little rain out there in the central city and kind of parts of southeastern North Dakota, right?
Yeah, we got a little rain shower moving through, but I don't think it'd be a complaint about that. I actually saw people out fertilizing their lawn yesterday
Hmm.
in our neighborhood. Wasn't you, it wasn't me, right? I don't know. It's just barely mid-April, but some people are excited about lawn work. Come August, we'll all be complaining. Oh, I wish it would dry up. I'm tired of mowing, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Us people that live up here in the north, it's just wonderful to see every spring the grass turn green and the people get out in the fields and start farming. And I don't know, it's just a great turn of the seasons.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So yeah, so with that, with the Easter holiday weekend upon us, we got a lot of things going on. Central Pharmacy is having their Happy Easter sale this week, so you can check that out. A lot of great items in there, and they're open yet this week and on Saturday, I believe, Saturday morning. Coming up on Saturday is the big day for the Easter egg hunt, ages 0 to 12 on April 19th. It's at the Carrington High School gym. Use door 7. Be sure to be there by 1:45 when the doors open because like things happen really fast at the Easter egg hunt. It goes fast. Also that same day, Bethel Chapel is having a family fun day from 2 to 4. And they're having story time, photo booths, crafts and games, face painting, and everyone is welcome to stop in. Also over at the library on Saturday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. is the Easter crafts. Decorate an Easter cookie, or you can decorate a bag for your Easter egg hunt. So stop there before you go to the Easter egg hunt and get that cute bag made, or, if you get a chance to. Also this weekend, the buffet, the Chieftain's having Easter buffet, on Sunday, of course, Easter, and then also the Bourjolac Bar and Grill, both serving Easter buffets. So if you don't like to cook on Easter, there's your chance. Trouble is no leftovers, but that's okay. The movie this weekend is King of Kings. It's rated PG, it's animated, and that is a wonderful Easter story. So you can take the kiddos over to the youth center for that. Let's see, next week coming up, April 23rd, and that is Wednesday next week, beginning at 5 p.m. until it's gone, is the annual Arnold Schroeder and Jim Dunn spaghetti feed brought to us by the Carrington Fire Department. The proceeds of this event will benefit Jack Jeske's medical costs, and you can have delivery. For delivery orders, call 652-2113. I believe. Yep. Can't even read my own handwriting nowadays. But yeah, for delivery orders, call 652-2113. And that is the spaghetti feed with proceeds to Jack Jeske's medical costs. And so that's kind of some of the things that are coming up. We've had some calls wondering about when is the citywide yard sales. People are ready to clean out and get rid of stuff, or maybe go shopping and find some things. We've moved the date this year a little later. So the date is May 31st for the citywide yard sales. It's always a big one, lots of sales sites. Just $5 gets you listed on our list, and we put that out online. And we also put a list and map at the Senex C-Store on the Friday and Saturday, the 30th and 31st of May. Just wanted to mention that we have so many job opportunities in Carrington. I just wanted to highlight a couple of them today. Several open positions over at the Carrington School, and they have those listed on Facebook. I'm not going to go through that list, but some teachers and some coaching possibilities. So if you're interested in that, take a look on Facebook. Leading Edge is now looking for a service foreman for the Leading Edge equipment here in Carrington. And then Carrington Drug is hiring for a pharmacy technician. I think that would be a great job. That wasn't my first job, but my first job was working at a pharmacy in Harvey, North Dakota, many, many years ago, and did a lot of dusting of the shelves. And sometimes I got to go up and work in the pharmacy doing some filing and things. So I don't know. I always think pharmacies are a great place to work. And then, of course, my job is listed here, the executive director of the Carrington Chamber and Economic Development, and I also work with tourism. And so job applications and the job description is available here at our office, and you can get that by mail. Contact us 652-2524. Or shoot an email to chambergal@dactel.com, or of course stop by 871 Main Street and we'll get that for you. Or we could mail them out too. So yeah, time to retire.
Yeah, when's the big date to retire in the summer, right?
Yeah, July 31st.
July
So
31st.
thought we
So
better start advertising, and that way, the whoever gets hired could have a little chance to do some training this summer and, go through some of the events and some of the things that we do work on here at the office and stuff. So that'll be fun. And I'll miss it. There's a lot of things I love about the job. But yeah, you get to be my age. It's time to spend more time with the grandkids and relax, maybe do a little travel.
yeah. Oh yeah, the grandkids will be happy.
Yes. Yeah. They keep asking me, aren't you retired yet? Because we've talked about it for a while.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, everybody have a happy Easter, and we'll talk to you next week, Greg.
Okay, sounds good. Well, thanks so much, Laurie, for the update. We always appreciate it, letting us know what's all happening around Carrington. And yeah, happy Easter and to you and your family. And we'll check in next week, Thursday. So,
Thanks, Greg. Bye-bye.
yeah, you bet. Bye.